Have you checked the children? You're a little mad sometimes.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes that is better.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Howdy folks, welcome back to the Horror Show. I'm Ralph the Wolfman.
And you got Jaime and Fuego here, and we are doing another patron review for none other than Ledesma. Robert.
Mr. Seth T. Miller. Yes, and so today we have...
No surprise.
Yeah, so today we have Big Bad Wolf coming out from back in, what was it, 2006.
Yes.
Yeah, and this was actually
Big Bad Wolf.
So this is actually one of those ones that I followed throughout its production and everything when it first got announced.
No
back
shit.
on upcoming horror movies.
I did not know
upcoming horror movies back in the day. That website used to be really awesome for like new horror releases and everything. Just keeping up with production stuff. I don't know. They definitely changed the format quite a bit. It's still kind of like how it used to be, but yeah, they definitely updated a lot of stuff. I don't know. I don't really follow it much anymore. But other than that,
I mean, talk about trailblazing though. That's fucking awesome because I had no idea that there was even the website.
oh yeah, that thing's been
being a little bit older than you, just like Cecil and everything.
That thing's been like around a hot minute. I remember just randomly stumbling across that. I was like fucking 13 or 14 and everything like that. And yeah, it was pretty much a good go-to for all the upcoming stuff. And they would even have like a list of like the movies they got put in a developmental hell. Yeah, getting all tongue-tied here.
Nice.
But yeah, other than that, for Big Bad Wolf. So yeah, overall thoughts. I still enjoy this movie just as much as I did when I watched it when I was 16. The effects still hold up. It's campy. It's not super serious. It doesn't take itself super seriously, which is nice. A couple things in the movie I'm just like, yeah, I could have done without. And everything, a couple of scenes, but you know,
it always happens.
It always happens and stuff. But no, other than that, I'm still thoroughly enjoy this movie. Fuego, how'd you like it?
Yeah,
this was the first time watch, right?
Yeah, first time watch, and I'm right there with you, man. This movie amused me. I liked it. Mm-hmm. And yes, there's the stereotypical shit with the kids, and they're like, we're going to party, and like, what are your sex kinks, and blah, blah, blah. But aside from that, when you just reel it away, there are gory kills, there are interesting aspects, most notably of the family, sort of dynamic, and in the fact that, okay, father is dead, but yet somebody, related has swooped in, and he might have kind of a tie-in of sorts, and so that's a thing. And the goriness and the grossness of when you start to actually see what is going on, and yeah, I was impressed. It was fun. It was funny, and the gore was gross and relatively well done. It was not the sort of mail it in sort of like veer your eyes away sort of situation. There are people being like torn in half. There's eyes being.
It's a very good use and heavy use of practical effects.
Very much so.
They did it really well, and it still holds up. Yeah. But we'll get into that once we get into like the effects stuff.
As we shall. But. Yeah. But as far as overall thoughts, I thought this was going to be trash, man, and it was good. And like Big Bad Wolf, despite the fact that I still have issues with talking on the Big Bad Wolf and the ADR and all that stuff. Aside from that, I thought that everything else, writing-wise and casting-wise, was far better than I was anticipating.
Mm-hmm. So. All right, so basically, real quick on the story. So basically, it's a pretty generic little story. A group of college friends go up to this kid's stepfather's cabin. As he was supposed to be out of town for a business trip, and during the night of partying, they are attacked by a werewolf. And during all of this, kids are killed. A couple of them get away, and they start finding clues leading up to who the werewolf is. And obviously, we're still not doing spoilers, even though it came out in 2006, but we're still not doing spoilers. So
it's relatively evident. I mean,
yeah,
come on.
It is pretty evident in everything of who the werewolf is.
Spells it out.
We figured out who the cabin is right there in the beginning, so it's generic in that sense, but they did take some nice little liberties with the story play out, especially with the werewolf itself. Mm-hmm. There were a couple of issues like what Fuego brought up, though. We'll say just going into some things of could have done without all the vocals and the talking of the creature.
Yeah.
That was a little heavy. I could have backed off with it, but I understood where they were coming from with that character of him toying with the children, with the kids and shit like that.
Yeah, which is what he's intentionally trying to do, and it's kind of this, oh, I'm the vampire, werewolf, so on, whatever, and it's gruff, it's very obviously ADR'd and all that aspect, and yeah, it's alright, but dare I say, did it foster and make the, I don't know, film better? No.
Okay, we'll just jump. How did you see? Let's just jump into acting real quick. Let's start off with that. Like, personally, I think everyone held their weight well enough. We had Richard Tyson in here as the stepfather. You'll know him as Crisp from Kindergarten Cop.
Yeah,
is at least the quick.
Seen him in so many.
So
things,
much stuff,
man.
but that's just a quick notable one. And then also we have Kimberly J. Brown from the Halloween Town movies.
Yeah,
things like that. And then our main guy, I'm honestly not sure what his name is, or honestly, I don't think I've even seen him in anything else besides this. But other than that, everyone did really well, and they held their characters up to the base of the standard of what this movie could have been.
Yeah,
our college kids and everything. We had our stereotypical ones in the group. You kind of knew who was going to get picked off first.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, you can see it a mile away, unfortunately, and that's one of the biggest disappointments in so many of these, like, 2000s-ish and, into the new century sort of situations. But, yeah, I thought they were all serviceable and, decent enough. But, yeah, beyond that, it just... nothing that was going to be massively memorable or anything of that regard.
The one nice little tidbit about this is we had a little cameo from David Naughton.
We did.
So that was cool, and he's put some age on. He's definitely put some age on. But it was still fun to have him come back in that.
Yeah, I was about to say, time has no opponents, man.
No, time will hit you like a rag doll sometimes. But
myself included. Yes.
You're aging like wine. Shut up.
No.
But one other thing, so they did actually like a lot of callbacks to like say even like the Wolfman and stuff with our main Richard Tyson's character. I can't remember his character in the movie, but his name of being instead of Larry Tolbert, it was something Toblat or something like that. So basically they're just changing around.
I like that new name even more.
Yeah, but they're just kind of keeping that reference and whatnot. All right, so basically, and then next I would say set design kind of stuff. We only really maybe I would say got 2 or 3 really actual set pieces between like the house. A warehouse maybe seen, and then between also the cabin.
Yeah, I was gonna say moderate amount.
Yeah, moderate amount and everything. Yeah. I like the cabin design. It was kind of cool, especially once you got towards the later half in the movie. You got to see extra little corridors and stuff that he had built up into this place and the facility and shit. The house is pretty basic, generic house. There wasn't really much to it. This was a lower budget film, so obviously they're working within their budget. The nice thing I will say is when we get to at least the effects, they definitely put their budget into the effects a lot more. Alright, so next, honestly, I think it would be really the main focus on this would be our practical effects. Because this was a very heavy practical effects film, especially with our werewolf.
Yes.
We had a little bit of CGI. It was alright. It definitely doesn't hold up. I remember it looking a lot better back in the day.
It's still not too bad.
It's still not too bad. But our practical effects in the werewolf suit and things like that, and the gores, the wounds, those still hold up. Those still look really good. And you can definitely tell that's where they put a lot of their money into, and like the talent. I would say not really. Wouldn't necessarily say the film was lacking in talent because it wasn't. It's still fun, good little movie. Obviously, some characters are going to be better. Yeah. Whatever.
Ups and downs in that regard.
Yeah, ups and downs. But the practical effects and everything were still great. I've always loved the design of this werewolf. And it kind of also kept with the original trope of Wolfman's gonna have his pants on, kind of thing. And so
Yeah, they're still doing it, whether it's Monster Squad or whatever it may be. It still continues.
And that was a nice thing, I will say, like especially with this movie, is there were not some, but they were definitely a fair amount of callbacks and references and love for the different werewolf genres throughout the years.
Truly.
I definitely liked it on that one. And again, I was saying like in the beginning, this movie, it's corny at times, especially with some of the dialogue that we get from the werewolf.
Yeah.
There's a couple assault scenes that I definitely could have done without. Like I'm just not about that. I'm just I can't get on board with any of that.
Yeah, when it comes to the torture and rape revenge and all that different shit, it's disgusting, man.
In like the behind the scenes like making of it that I had watched years ago, filmers talked about it was in there because basically the werewolf being that base of like your primal urges and everything, releasing the beast kind of thing. So okay, I get it.
I guess that makes sense from a storytelling standpoint.
Yeah, whatever. But going back to it, the practical effects were still amazing.
Stellar.
The gore we got, the limbs ripping off. Yeah. Like we even
had early on with like the legs. And
it was great. And then we even had one scene where a character literally just right from the jaw up, he gets ripped right open. And obviously we've seen that so many times. It's still fun.
Yeah.
It's just
although
how it's done.
Yeah. Although I have to ask you, man, as far as the best practical vampire effects in
werewolf.
Yes. I would imagine everybody knows where he's gonna go with this, but I would.
There's obviously
lay it on him, dude.
Well,
Seth T. Miller, you're getting
obviously
some bonus sort of
it
shit.
would be like, and the given one would be American Werewolf in London, but with it being alongside of the best one with the Howling, I can't necessarily just go onto that default. So the next one I would have to at least go with would be Bad Moon. Like that one is the next best full-on practical effect werewolf we've had,
and it's only in that like initial stage in the film, if I remember.
Yeah,
right?
when you get the full shot and everything, the final design of that werewolf was great. And obviously we have like the Rick Baker version of American Werewolf in London, even the Wolfman remake with Benicio del Toro. Great looking makeups and everything like that, but those were your old school traditional werewolves.
And that's where
there's your obviously difference between the bipedal and your quadrupedal werewolves.
Yeah, truly. Yeah. This is where I have to ask you though, as a expert man, and you're laughing at me, rightfully so, which is fine. But I have to ask Robert, as a Wolfman himself and everything. So they've exemplified in various pictures in the last number of years the fact that you can be bit, you can it's very just I don't know, hit and miss sort of vampire mythology as far as when you become one yourself. And so what is your favorite aspect of defining the mythology and making it easily accessible for a casual viewer who was like, oh, I'm interested in werewolves, but what am I going to watch where they like lay out the mythology properly where I can understand it?
Well, if anything, if you're gonna like learn about like lycanthropy and stuff, you just go to a history book, and it starts off with.
So don't rely on a film or whatever.
The folklore and the stuff that actually happened is where we have the mythology of the werewolf and why we have like the actual medical terminology of lycanthropy.
No, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, so basically, like, especially back in Europe during the winter months, the rye bread would grow a fungus called ergot, and that would actually create hallucinations and madness, almost like rabies, inside the mind, and people would have hallucinations that they were turning into wolves, and they were
from consuming it. Obviously.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's actually a movie called Roma Santa, Werewolf Hunter, and it's based off it's
an Italian movie, right?
I believe it is, yes, but it's based off of an actual account of this soap maker who's traveling, but he suffered from lycanthropy, and his victims he would use the fat of them into his soaps. And this was actually the first account
Great
of...
Tales from the Crypt episode. That did the same shit.
And this was actually the first account of where the, I want to say it was the British Parliament, recognized lycanthropy as an actual medical condition.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that was kind of the
Which is odd to
start
take
of
it to, that sort of assessment as far as, medical affliction and everything.
But yeah, that's pretty much where, like, the werewolf and lycanthropy legend was born. Obviously, we have other legends and stuff like that throughout different cultures and stuff like that
Made our way.
of your wares and werebears, werepigs, whatever.
No, werepigs.
Yeah, werebores.
I'm suddenly thinking of fucking Pink Floyd, like Pigs on the Wing.
Oh
sort of
Jesus!
Thing.
Yeah, but no,
They're,
I would
like
definitely
doing an evil acoustic sort of.
start off with the history books and then go into the movies and literature, see how it progressed. Just go from there.
Yeah, damn
But
right.
other than that, I think this is pretty much going to wrap it up of our review of Big Bad Wolf.
Yes.
2006. If you guys haven't checked it out, I highly recommend it.
Agreed.
It's a fun little shocky horror. I would say there's a horror comedy aspect and everything. There's some kind of decent little one-liners.
Yeah,
and shit.
although it's more so on the horror side of things.
It definitely is.
Like
it's more horror-centric than anything.
Yeah, it's of the greasy, grimy, and you guys saw Jaime and Fuego and the silliness of like sitting and trying to like populate your thoughts and get them, all accordingly put together. But yeah, this is a movie that befuddled me, honestly, because the tones are so all over the place, and the fact that it's violently very werewolf, and then you also have your dipshitty little kids who are not quite college level.
You got
and
Kimberly
everything.
J. Brown riding on a motorcycle, being a badass and everything, kicking
she
ass.
is fun, and also it's a much more sexual film than I was anticipating, and it is played into the narrative, and including the aforementioned where she's like, I got the semen sample, and you're like, what? And
all right, we're gonna end it there.
Exactly.
Yeah, all right, guys.
Yeah, because I love that chick so very much. I thought she was. I
fucking
thought,
Halloween
dude,
Town, bro.
Seriously, she was like such a crush for me.
Fucking
And
Marnie.
then when she decided to do that in the film, and I know it's for the greater good.
Oh, I know. It's just okay.
Really?
Anyways, so thank you again, Seth. Thank
Indeed.
you, everybody, and our patrons.
Damn reason.
If you guys want to become a patron, it's down here in the description below. Don't forget to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, ding that bell so you can see all of our beautiful faces and get all of our awesome
This man's beautiful
updates.
face. I mean, check it out, guys. I'm trying to grow a beard, and this is probably the extent of the time that he has grown that magnificence.
Well, okay. Well, quick.
What are we gonna do?
Quick shout out. So I actually picked up some new beard products from Mad Viking Beard Co. And these guys are actually pretty legit. I'm not getting any kickbacks. I'm just
donuts, nothing.
I'm just plugging this because
we're not Jeremy
these guys
Johns
are
and
actually
that
pretty
shit.
kick-ass. Wait, who?
Jeremy
What?
Johns.
What? Who?
Jeremy Johns.
Who the hell? What?
Jeremy Johns. I love Jeremy Johns, man. Well, I mean, from a platonic sort of standpoint, but
What are you talking about?
influential YouTuber. If we're not
Okay.
getting the kickbacks of that guy and you are, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. Anyways, yeah, so check out Mad Viking Beard Co. if you got a beard, or even for some hair products, because their beard oil can be used in your hair, and they got like 14 different scents. This one actually happens to be vanilla and sandalwood. Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
I thought you were gonna be like Vanilla and Satan. This
Vanilla and
this
Satan.
sandalwood was gangster.
Anyways, guys, thank you
Yes.
again. This has been our review of Big Bad Wolf. Thank you again,
Damn right.
Seth.
Yeah.
Love you as always.
Seth T. Miller, who gave some great insight about the Chucky series. And,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that he
He's
did. He had a good little theory
Seth,
on that.
Seth, you're right. Unfortunately, Don has kind of overlooked a few things, but you rock, and thank you so very much, man.
All right, guys. Other than that, from here at the Horror Show, I've been Robert Wolfman.
And I have been Jaime Fuego.
And remember, stay scared.